Hey, what's happening, you guys? You guessed right. You're on the Proclivity podcast, and you are with myself, Joel Cochran, your host, and co-host, Emily Rodella. And today, what we're going to be talking about is traveling. We're actually doing a 3-part series talking about traveling. Holiday seasons are coming up. You're going to be traveling to go see family. There is a good way to travel and not so good way to travel, particularly when it starts getting into colder weather. We start getting the sniffles, traveling, and there's a bunch of other people who are getting sick. There is a good way to travel and a not so good way to travel. So we're going to be breaking it down, and we're going to be talking about how to prepare to travel, what you should do when you are traveling, and when you return. 3-part series. This is going to be fire. Perfect timing. Don't you think, Coach?
Yeah. Thanksgiving's coming up. Christmas. All the holidays. You're right.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. So today what we're going to be talking about is getting into the travel before you actually leave. Yet before we dive into that, we do want to say something. We want to talk to you about the Proclivity Method. It's our 3-month program. It's the one thing we do, and we do it damn well. We help people create healthier bodies and happier lives by creating more resilient mindsets and more metabolically flexible bodies. And we do it with M&I, just like how you're hearing us now. We're going to be one-on-one with you, group with you. We're going to be walking you through our method. And does it work, Emily?
Yes, it works. Head to our testimonial page if you're curious about it.
And we're going to have so many testimonials rolling out, folks. Video after video after video. Because testimonials are powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure is. Okay, guys. Let's dive into this. Talking about travel, Coach Emily. We travel, sometimes for business, sometimes with family, personal. And throughout my years of traveling, I have found that there is a good way to travel and a not so good way. A lot of the times when people travel, they find themselves really stressed out before their travels, whether it's personal or business. Then they get to their location, and depending on what they're doing, whether it's personal or professional, it can actually be a really stressful time. You're in a different place. Maybe you're different time zones. You're not familiar with the area, which can be the exciting part of traveling, and also can be the difficult part when it comes to traveling. And so we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to traveling. We're going to be talking about our different techniques that we utilize to prepare ourselves for traveling. And we're going to give you guys our top 3 pre-travel tips so you can make the best out of your travels. So let's start off with it, Coach Emily. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to travel. Why do we travel? Let's talk about the good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the good, usually, hopefully, a lot of the time we are traveling for vacation, right? So hopefully that we're getting a little mental break, physical break, and or we're going on some adventures, right? So it can be a stress reliever in that manner. If you're thinking about it, oh, I'm going to take a break from work, take a break from my usual routine, and do something fun. So the good that can come along with that, of course, other than the joys, the experiences, the adventures, is, what comes with that are the dopamine, serotonin hits, right? So we are getting those good feelings in the brain. which helps with our gut health, which helps with our physical health. So we have that. We are getting exposed to different bugs and bacteria, right? When we're traveling, different places, different people, we're touching different things, and that boosts our immunity. And typically, well, at least if you're traveling like we are, we're getting a lot more movement in. We're walking a lot more and perhaps going to different gyms or doing different types of movement in general, right? So you could be getting more physical activity. So those are the main goods, right? And perhaps we're seeing family. That's, having that sense of relationships or community or connection with people is always a huge pillar of health that we talk about and is super important. So if you're going to visit family or friends or connect with people, that's, of course, huge stress reliever and boost as well.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, we travel because we want adventure. We want to break from our norm. We want to be able to go see family and be in a different environment and see different hills and trees and landscapes. It's the beautiful thing of traveling, and we encourage the heck out of it. And how lucky are we in the 21st century that we can jump into this aluminum tube and fly through the air while we're watching a movie or doing work or texting somebody at 500 miles an hour at 32,000 feet. It's insanity, folks. Yet it's the beautiful thing that we get to do this and we get to travel. And one of the things that I want to touch on, because of the last couple of years, is what Emily said. I want to key back in on this. Traveling can be healthy for your immune system. What? Most people go, oh man, when I travel, I'm going to get sick. First, that's a story. You're telling yourself that. You're telling your body, we're going to get sick. Your body's going to go, okay, cool, let's get sick. And also, we're going to give you tips here of how to keep your stress low, to keep your immunity strong, so there isn't this massive dropout. Yet, Coach Emily, what do you mean that we can get healthier by being exposed to different bacteria?
Well, when you get exposed to different things, your body builds up an immunity towards it. So long as we're at healthy levels to begin with, so this is why we make sure we're healthy during the other times, right? When we are at home, when we are in our routine, then we do get exposed, then our body starts building that immunity towards it. So it's like you may, if especially when you're young, you'll notice it with children, they get sick a lot because they're building their immunity. The more we expose ourselves, the bigger it'll build. So for example, my 2-year-old, he's been in daycare for a year. He got really sick once a month with a bad cold or fever every single month. And now it's slowly turning into a mellow cold if he does get sick, right? And then eventually it'll get more mellow and more mellow, hopefully, right? Yeah. And it's the same idea when you think about growing up with dogs or getting yourself in the dirt, right? These things expose us to good bacteria because the variety of it, again, is extremely helpful for building a healthier immune system. If we're constantly washing our hands or staying away from all the things, then we don't build a better immunity. So when we do travel, then we do get really sick, right? So from a young age and as much as possible, exposing ourselves to different things is going to be helpful.
Wait a second. We've been told that when you travel, you need to sanitize everything. Every piece, every part. We need to be sanitizing before and after and here and there. And we're not saying that sanitizing is terrible. Yet should we be bathing in sanitization in the fear that there's viruses everywhere?
No, I don't think so, right? Because of what I just said, number one. Number two, there's a lot of chemicals in that sanitizer that I don't want constantly in my skin, in my body.
Yeah, because your skin is your largest organ, correct? And so what we're putting on our skin can affect the way we feel.
Oh, yeah. What you put on your skin is what goes into your body. It's very similar to what you actually ingest. Your body still processes it all.
Sounds like another podcast. Moving on, so we know that there's a lot of benefits the serotonin feeling of being grateful, the dopamine hits of doing things differently, right? This one of the reasons that you feel so excited and feel so good is that you get a really big dopamine hit when you do something unplanned. You're walking downtown in a new place and you're like, what's this place? I don't know. Let's go investigate. And you go in there and you're like, oh, wow, it's a specialty pickled shop. You want to try one of these pickles? Yeah, let's try one of these pickles. And you try it and you're like, oh my gosh, this pickle's the greatest pickle ever. And you leave there just skipping. And that is a chemical response that's happening in your brain. 100%. 100%. And you're leaving that place with a dopamine hit where you're going, ow, this feels great. This feels great. And so these are all very great things when it comes to traveling. Now, we have all done some traveling. What is the bad, right? In quotations, because there's very few things that we call bad. They're all experiences and we're all learning. But we're framing it to be able to categorize it. What is the bad when it comes to traveling?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing I think of is the unpredictability, right? So when you're traveling, the time is not always exact, right? You don't know how long a certain event or thing is going to be. You might not know exactly how long the drive is or how you're getting somewhere, if you're not planning things. So things can be unpredictable. Also, what comes along with that is your routine, right? So your routine's different. You could be in a different time zone. You're not in your own bed. You're not going to your typical gym or your workout spot. You don't have your kitchen with your food, right? All the things that goes into a routine, it's usually not there. So that's a big, big, big one for people. And so again, like I mentioned, within that, the food, movement, and the sleep. So even if you're in a good sleep environment, right? You get the extra pillows at the hotel. You bring your sound machine, right? You're still not in your typical environment. The smells, the temperature, the sounds, even your body's going to be a little bit on high alert and not going to sleep as well. So that's definitely a rough part.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just got back from traveling to Virginia for some business, and I was in multiple different spots. So it's not that I just went to Virginia and I was in one location. I slept in 3 different beds in the week that I was there, and every pillow was different. Every bed was different. Every temperature was different. And there was adjustments that need to be made where my body's like, whoa, we're in a new place. What are those different sounds? Subconsciously, right? Your body is more on alert. It's not like you're like, oh, was that the boogeyman that I just heard? No, when you're sleeping, you're going to have different alerts. And I've tracked it on my Whoop before and seeing my heart rate go up throughout the night on the first night. And then the second night, when I'm more established, I'm used to the particular sounds that are in that environment, less bounce with my heart rate. Yet the routine thing, I mean, it can be hard enough for people that if they don't have their particular coffee at home on a certain day, that it throws their entire routine off.
Yeah.
Right? Let alone you're in a completely different environment, complete different time zone, all of that. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about, guys, is how to be able to maintain that routine while you are traveling and how much more this is going to elevate your experience, the good part of travel. So those are the things that we know can be the bad things. Now let's talk about the ugly. We talked about the good, the bad, and now let's talk about some of the ugly that comes about from traveling.
Yeah. So oftentimes we hear and have experienced ourselves, right? When we go on vacation, we throw everything out the window, meaning we are not in our routine at all. So maybe we're not moving our body at all. Not eating, we're eating out at every meal, meaning we're like at restaurants, right? But specifically, we think of overbooking first and foremost. So we tend to overdo it, especially if we're with other people, if we're somewhere we've never been before and we feel like we have to do all the things. We're scheduling ourselves too much, not leaving enough space for us to do the things that are going to make us feel better and rested and ready to go the next day, like the movement, like the better food, like the sleep, right? Because we're staying up talking to people that we don't usually talk to, or going out, or we could be even at a work conference later, having a long work day, right? So overbooking in general. And then oftentimes what's paired with that is alcohol, right? When we're seeing other people, it's socially acceptable in our culture. It's the normal thing where we're just drinking more, right? Or it helps us relax, whatever it is, whatever the case is for you. We tend to have more of that, which is, as we know, the domino effect on poorer sleep, poorer energy, more cravings, less feeling good the next day, all the things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you hit one in there, right? That is so interesting. We talk a lot to our clients about the overbooking part. Like, you've been looking forward to this vacation so much, and you're trying to get away from right? And listen to those words, guys. Get away from the daily grind. These are words that we use quite often. So now you're looking at your life as getting away from it. We get away from the things we don't want, just as a heads up. Grind is what you do when you're stressed out and you're grinding your teeth. So of course, when we get on vacation, we're like, I want to do all the things. And this right here, 2 parts. One, the overbooking can make it even more stressful. We've all been there. We've all been there. Overbooked. You get home and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a vacation from my vacation. How many of you guys have said that? Be honest with yourself. If you're listening right now, you can put your hand in the air. Unless you're driving, keep 2 hands on the wheel, 10 and 2. Yet we tend to overbook. And we tend to have this identity, right? This identity crisis that can happen when we travel and we come back to normal life. We feel bad that, oh my gosh, I just ate so much. I just went completely off the rails. Another one that I love hearing, off the rails? What do you mean, rails? Right? Life is not this linear on rail or off rail. It is too complex, folks. Yet if you feel that you need to be on a rail, there's some identity stuff going on there. Because now all of a sudden it's either I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And if I'm not doing it, I'm a bad person. Oh, gosh dang it, I did it again. You know, I feel so stupid that I drank so much and I ate so much. And so now when I get home, right, what's the point of getting back to this workout regimen or back to eating healthy? You know, I'm already off the rails. And we go right back into it. So the ugly is that we can completely self-sabotage ourselves when it comes to traveling because of the things that we decide to treat ourselves to and the language that we use. 2 parts, guys. In the proclivity method, we create a mindset that is resilient, that is encouraging, that is powerful, to create an identity that matches the daily digestive and nutrition habits that you can do that are simple, highly effective. Weird. Can life be simple and highly effective? The answer is yes. So we got into the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is to be able to lay the platform, right? The foundation, guys, of talking about this travel and this travel series that we're doing. We want to be able to help you coming into this holiday season be prepared to travel and love traveling. Be very effective at traveling. And there's some simple things that you can do that can absolutely change your experience when it comes to travel. And what we're going to dive into now is we're going to talk about optimizing your travel before you actually start traveling. So, Emily, we were talking about this earlier before the podcast started, and we were talking about a couple clients, right? We're not going to name any names, We've been there too. We've done it before. And again, you might be raising your hand here in just a second when we give this example. Yet, here it goes. I've planned for this travel. I'm looking forward to this travel. Yet, I got work. And my schedule's a little tight because I'm not creating enough space. And so now I got to get all these things done before I get on my travel. And there are some people who will work all the way up until the day of travel, like hours before you're about to travel. And it's this stress, like I got to get all my clients in, or I got to finish this project, or I got to make sure all this is all lined up. And we're stressing ourselves up and building ourselves into this huge sympathetic state where our mindset is narrowing, our vision's narrowing, our language is getting crappy. This is no way to start a vacation. And so, what is a good way to optimize our before travel? What are some things that you do?
Yeah. So speaking to that, like I first think of the old me, and I would literally pack the hour before I left. And what did that create? A stressful travel day, right? I'm like, oh, go. Did I pack this? Did I pack that? Did I forget that? And then I'm just running to the airport 15 minutes behind, right? All of those things. And it led to high stress and then anxiety the rest of the day. So if we backed up from there, as Joel was saying, with not overbooking ourselves the week before, in my head, I think of, okay, my vacation starts, say, a couple days before my actual vacation starts from when I travel. So I can taper down my work so I have time to pack appropriately and not feel stressed, run errands if I need to, such as getting some snacks for the trip or being prepared with doing the laundry I need to do for packing my clothes, right? All of these things. And, oh man, there's so many things. And I start making sure that the meals I get in are high quality, nutrient dense, and I'm getting my workouts in, because I know when travel comes, like we talked about with that unpredictability, we may not get the highest quality foods 100% of the time. We may not get the perfect workout in all the time, right? So I'm building myself up to know, okay, I'm going to have perhaps a week of ups and downs, nonlinear, right? So I'm going to get that in now. And then when I come back, I can do the same thing. So I'll come back to the packing part, right? Are we packing appropriately? Are we packing workout clothes so we can set ourselves up for success, not have the excuses to not move our body? Are you packing snacks for the travel day? Do you need snacks? Are you going to fast, right? Part of a big benefit of our program is we help teach you how to become metabolically flexible so you can fast if need be, right? But if not, then are we packing appropriate snacks so we're not getting to the airport, we're not getting to the city and going, oh, well, there's nothing else, so I'm just going to go to In-N-Out, right? There are other options. You are in control. So it's up to you. So you can pack some, snacking veggies, nuts and seeds, some bars, even a protein shake, or what Joel and I both actually like to do in our own way is we pack our coffee cup. I put some collagen and some coconut creamer, the layered superfood powder, because it's easy to travel with. The powder MCT oil, again, easy to travel with. You can either put it in a jar or your coffee cup ready to go. And then we have that as our first little thing when we're traveling, because we tend to fast, especially if we're flying somewhere, and we wait to have our first meal until later in the day, whether it be later in the morning for lunch or even until when we get to our destination. So that's one little thing that we both do. Wait to have our coffee, but pack it appropriately. And then making sure, that we're packed ahead of time. We have a plan for what we're doing, and we're packing our supplements. So with the supplements, most of you probably know by now, if you've been listening for at least a couple of episodes, we love Element, the electrolytes. They taste good. They're high quality, no sugar, easy to travel with. So we definitely make sure we have our electrolytes in, because we know when we travel, we tend to get dehydrated more easily, right? And it helps when we're fasting as well. So that's number one on our supplement list. Number two would be what other supplements do you take daily and what can you bring with you? So I now have a little divider for the days, right? The Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday supplement holder. That helps me. So I know exactly what there is to take and it's easy to travel with. So I daily take vitamin D, magnesium, those are the two for sure. And also usually fish oil or omega-3s. Joel and I were talking about this as well, that normally I would bring omega-3s, but if you're traveling somewhere warm, right, or if it's in the summer months, I would not bring those because we know with heat, it can ruin that supplement. It can re-acidify the omega-3s. So little things to think about with the supplements here and there. But overall, I highly recommend that little pack. Bring in your dailies still. If you want a little extra boost, there are some things like zinc, vitamin C, if you don't take those daily, that you can have as your little extra armor while traveling. And then, like I mentioned before, so I used to travel with the oil, MCT oil, and that was a mess. So now I've switched to the powder. Same with my coconut milk, and you can't travel with the ton of liquid, right? I've switched that to powder. And so there's these little switches you can make. So being prepared for those makes travel so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Is there anything that you do differently that I didn't talk about?
Yeah, you nailed a lot of it. And guys, when it really comes down to when you're preparing for travel, give yourself the space to be prepared before you go. And one of the things that Emily touched on, and I highly encourage, is take a half day before your travels. Cool. I'm traveling on Friday. I get off at noon on Thursday. Take a half day. Take a half day, because that gives you the space to be able, hey, if the kids are still in school, right, it's the middle of the day, so the grocery store is not going to be wild, or if you need to stop and grab something, being able to go, hey, it's 6 o'clock, it's dinner time, bags are already packed, got all the things done, finish off a few things around the house. Now you're able to like snuggle up, watch a movie, and go, man, vacation's already started. Instead of it's totally. 11 o'clock, I'm trying to pack all the bags, the kids still aren't asleep, right? Holy mother. And I'm going to get 5.5 hours of sleep because we're doing the early flight out because we want to be able to get in early enough to be able to get to the event that we overbooked and overplanned. Whoa, guys. Whoa.
I'm laughing because that was 100% me before. And that was normal. I thought that's how it had to be.
Yes. I did this. I did the same thing. All start packing at 10 p.m. at night. What a dum-dum.
Start the laundry then.
It's 1 o'clock and I'm going to bed and I'm getting up 4 hours later. Wow, what a great way to start my vacation is in a complete deficit, right? And the food that I had before wasn't good and so on and so forth. You want to prepare yourself, guys. Fill up that micronutrient cup as much as you can. Start that 2 days beforehand, making sure you're hitting all your supplements, making sure you're completely hydrated. You're getting ready to travel. The body wasn't made to travel 2,000 miles. And the reason I'm saying that is because I went from West Coast to East Coast within 6 hours. It wasn't made. We weren't meant to be flying at 500 miles an hour at 30,000 feet. And so this is a stressor on your body. And so you want to be able to be as prepared as you can to be able to do those travels, right? So this is a part of that early night preparation. Now, we talked about taking a half day off. Why? Because you also want to do a little bit of research when it comes to your travel and where you're going, right? And here are a few things that what we're talking about when it comes to researching. We're talking about, where are you staying? Where is a local grocery store, such as a Whole Foods, close to you? And what are the different restaurants that are available to you? Doing just small amounts of research, guys, we're talking maybe 15 minutes, can go a very, very long way. So let's dive into each one of those, right? Where you stay, grocery store, and restaurants. Give us an idea, Coach Emily, of what are the best practices for that.
Yeah. So when you're talking about where are you staying, a couple things to keep in mind. For me, I immediately think first, am I going to be able to cook some eggs for myself in the morning or midday for one meal a day, or at least, right? So can I find somewhere that has a kitchen or kitchenette, a stove of some sort, or fridge too, right? Those two things together. So then I can go to the grocery store. Before we get there, the second thing is, in terms of where are we staying, is it close to a nice grocery store or some restaurants, right? Or within the vicinity that makes sense for whatever you're doing. So I know Joel, he will make sure there's a Whole Foods around if he's in a, bigger city, right? Because then he knows he can go get his groceries there. You can also get a meal there if you want. And sometimes use it as your exercise. You can walk there and walk back.
Yep.
Makes it easy.
Did that.
Right? You don't have to stress about the transportation part there too. So those are the two things we look at. Pay the extra money for the Airbnb with the kitchen, or pay the extra money for the hotel with the kitchenette. Agreed?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yes, I know that for you. So again, talking about a grocery store. Why grocery store? Because that means we don't have to eat out at a restaurant for every single meal, right? Because when we're eating at restaurants, depending on where you're going, most places are going to be more nutrient poor. The main point of that would be we're likely getting exposed to a lot of oxidized oils, which causes more inflammation, causes more cravings, right? Less nutrients in general, less micronutrient filled cup within our body. So we're going to be hungrier, craving more, a little more depleted. So eat, if you can, eat like you do at home. So go to the grocery store. I always recommend, think charcuterie plate. Think salami, sliced turkey, eggs, berries, snacking veggies, hummus, guacamole, jerky, nuts and seeds, all those things that you would think of on a charcuterie plate, you can find at a grocery store. So we want to have those options for ourselves. And then what I like to do, it's one of my favorite things because I love food. I love good food. I also love good coffee. So I will look for a good coffee shop. And you can also, if you go to a good coffee shop, they can give you good recommendations on better restaurants. But do the research. And how I do that is I type into Google the city of where I'm at. And I used to type in healthy restaurants. And I promise you that will likely not get you to where you want to be. I'll just leave it at that. So what I want you to type in and give a try is grass-fed. And then again, the city that you're in, restaurant, or farm to table. Those are the two I've had most success with. Once I see a couple of options there with good ratings on Google, then I'll go to Instagram and look at their page, see what the ambiance looks like, right? Or even look at the menu, of course. So that's what I do. And if you don't do it ahead of time, which is ideal, right? Because then we can relax more while we're on the vacation. You can also do it while you're on the plane or in transit, right? So think about this as much ahead of time as you can, but know that you also have the option when you get there to do that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guys, this isn't there's no difference here when it comes to, hey, I'm traveling to see family, or I'm traveling for business, or I'm traveling for pleasure. When it comes to these different things, there are times, I promise you, where you might want to get your own Airbnb away from family, particularly if you have a kid and you have other things going on, right? Of course, you want to spend time. But when it comes to having a place to retreat to, some solitude, you want that space and place. Even if you spent the majority of your time at the parents' house or the relative's house, but you got to go home where you had your own setup, again, this comes down to being able to have the appropriate identity, the appropriate language to be able to stand up to yourself and be able to say, hey, this is what's best for my family. Because mom or grandma or aunt might be like, well, we barely see you and we want to spend as much time. Listen, you're going to be asleep anyways. Okay? We're not spending time together when you're asleep. So let me go home with my pillow and my kitchenette and my quietness and my all the things that I need for me, my kid, my husband, right, or wife, to be able to do that thing. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to this, we're not just talking your business trip or personal or family. We're talking all of it. Same thing with the grocery store. Even when I go to travel with family, you know what I do first and foremost? I stop at the store. And I bring the groceries. Again, if I have my own spot, it's perfect. I'm going to bring it to my own spot. If not, and I am staying with family, great. I'm going to bring in groceries. They're like, oh, we already have food. Oh, cool. Well, then we have them extra now. Because most likely the food that they're eating is not the food that I want. It might have gluten or additional oils or sugars. And before I know it, I'm inflamed. My micronutrient cup is low. And now all of a sudden I'm grumpy, or I feel like I need to take a nap, or I don't have energy to go on the hike, or I'm just burning it at both ends. And this leads to that burnout when you get back from your travels, is because we're not on the normal stuff that we're doing. And so being able to do this, all these things, being able to do this research, and being able to stand firm with yourself, your family, is very important. Very important. Right? Now, we've talked about the research of it, the preparation. Here's another big piece, guys. Here's another big piece. Structure. You still can have structure when you're on vacation. And this is important. It doesn't have to be super rigid, but being able to put a little structure to your travel, of being able to look out and go, okay, I'm going to be there Monday through Friday. What is that going to look like for my day to day? When it comes to things such as daily movement, when it comes to things such as having enough time to get sleep, to be able to do things that you want to do, being able to create that structure is really important. So Coach Emily, how do you create structure, or what are some experiences you've had when it comes to traveling on times that maybe you didn't create structure and you did create structure? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. Well, in my mind, I thought vacation meant you sleep in, which you can, right? You can do whatever you want. Yet what I found for me, where I feel my best, is if I wake up still relatively within the same time that I do at home, and I get movement in first thing. Because it's very similar to being at home. If I don't get the movement in the first part of the day, then it's less likely to happen, right? And I know I feel so much better when I get that in. Yet reminding myself, it doesn't have to be complicated. I don't have to go to a CrossFit class. I don't have to go be in a gym. I can literally do it in my room or in the hotel. Most times I will run around the area, right? If it's a place I want to explore and see, or perhaps I'll find some stairs, whether it be in the hotel or again in the area, and do some stairs, or just do a simple go-to workout that we both have, right? For me, it's some air squats, lunges, push-ups, planks, some variation of that for 10, 15 minutes. And then you're done. That's it. Shower. And then you can even do it before everyone gets up, or do it first thing, right? You're not going to miss 10 minutes or 15 minutes even is not a big deal in the grand scheme of things in your whole day. And you're going to, again, feel so much better. So for me, that's where it starts each day. That's what sets up my structure for success.
Agreed.
And then next, I would say plan one thing a day. Like literally have one thing planned, so you have that freedom for if things do come up, you can go do that. Or you can stay long, or you can stay short. Or if you don't like whatever you're doing, you want to leave, you can go pick something else. And again, like I said, ask the person at the coffee shop or at the restaurant, hey, what do you recommend we do around here? Like, what's your favorite thing to do? Your favorite restaurant, your favorite site, right? Whatever it is. So that's typically what we do. We plan one thing, not two, unless it's a day thing and then a night thing. But even then, we make sure we have space in between to relax, recharge, do what we need to do.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, the movement is huge. The movement is huge. It's one of the things that I do structurally on my day-to-day. And guys, we want to create, and this is something that we can dive into in another podcast, but when we create structure, our day-to-day structure, We want it to be as simple as possible so that it can travel with us no matter where we go. If we have to have our daily structure as a certain incense with certain candle lighting, with certain temperatures, when you don't have that, it's going to be like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? My structure's completely blown apart. You know what one of my daily structure things that I do every single day, Emily, is? Take a guess.
Make your bed.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Very first thing that I do, no matter where I'm at, is I make my bed. In a hotel room, I make my bed. It is the first thing that I do, and it allows me that structure to go, oh, okay, well, since I made my bed, I might as well do my gratitudes. So I'm standing on the edge of my bed. I just stood up. Oh, I can do my gratitudes anywhere. I need nothing but myself. And then what can I do? Oh, I can go splash some water on my face. Because most places that I'm going to be, even if I'm in the wilderness, I can splash water on my face. That wakes me up. And then what am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to go for a walk. Start get some blood flow. Get my eyes to the rising sun. I do that every morning. Just throw on a sweatshirt and I go for 10 minutes. Slow, easy walk. Expose myself to the sun, my eyeballs to the sun, getting some movement in. And then when I get back, what do? I'll do a workout. Might be a longer workout, might be a shorter workout. Yet I did that at Virginia when I was traveling the entire time. I woke up, push comes to shove, I'll go for a walk. And I'd go for a walk. You can always walk, guys. Mm-hmm. Don't downplay the importance of movement first thing in the morning, even if it's just a walk. Mm-hmm. That's it. Go take a walk for 15 minutes. See the difference.
Yeah. And for me, that's part of the vacation experience, right? Because you, like I said, you are seeing where you are. And that's why planning where you're staying is also important for us, for me. It's because I want to be able to go on that walk straight out of wherever we are and enjoy the scenery and the environment and explore a little bit on those walks. So it's part of the vacation. It's not like this, I have to get up and do this little exercise or workout. No, it's part of it and it's enjoyable.
Big time, big time. You can walk around the city. You can walk around the block that you're staying at. If you're staying at Airbnb, you can go out into the wilderness. You come back, then you get your coffee. Life is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So we've talked about a lot of things here today. We talked about travel in itself, the good, the bad, the ugly, what can keep us from having a very enjoyable experience, being able to integrate, come back into our day-to-day lives, either with our fists, in the air, like, heck yeah, let's get started back into it, to work, into our regular life, or dragging into work or our normal day-to-day. We talked about the good, the bad, the ugly. We talked about how to optimize your travel when it comes to preparing before you leave. Being able to take that half day, making sure that your bags are packed early, making sure that micronutrient cup is full, that you've had good rest multiple nights in a row, that you're not trying to jam all this work, 3 days before, getting 4 hours of sleep because you're trying to stay up late and finish all this work tasks off. We talked about being able to do research and know where you're staying, who you're staying with, the different grocery stores and restaurants that you're at, so you can, again, keep those micronutrient levels high, keep that structure established, even if it's just small things, taking 5 to 10 minute walks, doing a short little workout, those kind of things go a long way. So as we do, we talked about a lot, yet what are our top 3 when it comes to optimizing before we travel?
Mm-hmm. So one, it comes down to the planning ahead part. So you have space to start your trip off in that parasympathetic state. So you are calm. You don't have that anxiety-filled travel day. So like Joel said, that half day or that tapering off of work, plan that in so you don't feel like you have to fit everything in, right? So plan it in when you're planning your trip 3-4 weeks out or months out, however you do it. plan that in so you are starting off in that calm state. Make sure you're paying what you're worth in terms of food, where you're staying, all that you're doing. You're worth it, right? You're going on vacation to enjoy it. So pay the extra money for your extra Airbnb, even if you are with family, if that makes sense. Pay the extra money for the good quality grass-fed farm to table food. Do those things so you feel better and you're enjoying yourself more and you're less likely to get sick. And then lastly, the big one we talked about here at the end was the structure. Less is more. No need to overbook yourself and make things more stressful. Again, think one thing a day. Have that little bit of structure that will give you more freedom and more peace. So those are the top 3.
Absolutely. Again, guys, what we want to do when it comes to travel and what this whole series is about is that you, one, are able to fully enjoy and be present with your travel. And 2 is to be recovered from your vacation. And what I mean by that is vacations are meant to be re-energizing. They're meant to be to feel healthy, to feel rested. Yet a lot of us get back from vacations and go, oh my gosh, I need a vacation from my vacation. Listen, there's going to be some vacations that are going to be a little higher, right? Maybe it's because you're doing activities such as, hiking, biking, or something that's more active, or that you're with family and it's just going to be, more energy that's going to be going on. Yet there are things that you can do to be able to find rest through your travel, where some travels are going to be full rest state and others not as much. Yet there's still things that we can do to be able to create that good parasympathetic state, to be re-energized, to come back into day-to-day life, going like, heck yeah, that was a great addition to my life. Not a derail, not an energy suck, but like, cool, I'm ready to start my reintegration into my normal day-to-day, and I'm excited about it. And so what we're going to be talking about in the next episode is we're going to be talking about when you are traveling. So we talked about pre-travel here, how to be able to research, how to be able to get everything prepared. Now we're going to talk about when you are traveling. What are the things we should be doing each day? What is that going to look like? And then we're going to finish it off with reintegration. How do we reintegrate into our day-to-day where we feel, heck yeah, I'm really excited to get back to work. I'm really excited to be part of my day-to-day structure again. There is no, I'm off the rails. That's what we're avoiding. We're coming back nice and calm, cool and collected, ready to get going. So that's it for today.
That's it.
Anything else, Coach Emily?
No, tune into the next part of this series. It'll be a little bit shorter since it is, again, we're talking about what to do while you're traveling. So tune in. If you guys have any other questions, as we mentioned about the proclivity method in the beginning, always feel free to reach out, send us a message on Instagram or email emily@proclivity.co or joel@proclivity.co. And we're always here for you guys.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, you guys, that's it for this episode. We appreciate you tuning in. We hope that you are having an incredible, wonderful, fantastic week and day. And as always,
best day ever.
It takes a little while, but we're working on it, guys. It could be because our reception, with the podcast might be delayed. Or it's still best day ever. Best day ever. See you later, guys.